ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Morning Hustle and Headkrack After Hours. Is a man who's been turning in quality work, man, for, decades now, man. He's made you laugh. He's made you cry. He's even thrown some punches and made some people cry because he's killed them in the movies. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Stan Shaw is in the building. Good evening, sir.
Hi, how you doing, brother?
All is well, man. The new movie, The Pale Door, hits the streets on August 21st. You know, people are sitting at the crib. They need something to do. Why not have a good scare, right?
Yeah, that's the way I look at it, man. It's one of my favorite. Well, it's two of my favorite genres combined: the Western and the horror film genre. It's amazing.
And
I've always wanted to be a part of that family. So,
and Mr. Shaw, I think you could probably count on one hand the amount of times that those two genres have been put in a blender and merged together. When I was watching the premise and just like seeing how like a train robbery turns into something extra, I like where it's going. I can't wait to check it out.
Yeah. It was brilliantly conceived by Aaron, the writer director, and we actually had some things held back from us until they actually happened, so you can see it in our faces upon impact. And it was a fantastic ensemble of fright, the way it came at us. So hopefully that'll transition to you, the audience, so you can feel what we feel at the moment we're feeling it.
Hey, and Shudder as a whole platform has been coming with it, man. Like, I've subscribed to Shudder years ago just based off of it having like it, how Facebook just knows what you're into. They know me. One of me and my mom's favorite pastimes was going to watch horror movies when I was a kid, and I was the only one that would go with her. So that was something that we always had in common. So that was a bond. So thinking back,
I did that too, because she took me to my first horror film when I was a kid. It's very funny.
Oh, your mom did?
Yeah. It was a picture called House on Haunted Hill, and it was the first time 3D came off the screen, and all the kids started screaming and running. I was on the end seat, and I took off to run, and she grabbed me. The skeletons were just coming toward me like this. I was like, oh, and she was like, boy.
We've come a long way with the technology, man. We can do some fantastic things. So when you talk about horror being your favorite genre, if you had to personally say your top 5, Mr. Shaw, what are they?
Ooh. The original Jeepers Creepers, The Entity.
Okay.
The original The Howling. The original Nightmare on Elm Street. And The Pale Door.
The Pale Door, which is hitting digital and on demand this coming Friday, the 21st. And you definitely named some solid ones. Have you ever seen the movie Dead and Buried?
I don't think I've seen that
one. Bro, based off the recommendations that you just gave, It's one of those movies where you have to wash your face when it's over. I want to say it was made by the same guy who did... it's escaping me right now, but it's a classic, came out in 1981, very disturbing stuff, because you're not used to seeing kids die in movies, at least at the time. So in the way they handled it was insane, like even darker than it, but it is what it is. So, all right, so you guys rob a train.
Yeah.
You think you got the bounty, what's in the treasure chest, and there's a person in there.
Yeah. We get on the train. We get on the train, and they see that there is no safe on the train. So the only thing to do is to take what they see is a huge suitcase, and let's see what's in that. Drag it out into the desert, into the wilderness. Getting ready to shoot the lock off, and it starts to rattle, and everyone is like, "What the hell is this?" And so we shoot the lock off, open it, and there's this beautiful, alluring woman in it, in the middle of the wilderness with us, hardened, bristled cowboys who drink mud for coffee, eat tumbleweed. Haven't seen a woman like this in a while. So everybody's, awestruck. And she's gagged and bound. And I take the gag off her. First thing you say is, what the hell are you doing in this case? And she says, if you take me to this town, I can help you, because my partner in crime is wounded. We're trying to get him someplace to get him healed up. And then she mentioned there's a reward if we can take him back. hell, we don't have any money in this thing. So
Right.
let's take him back to our town and get him fixed up and collect this reward. And we get back to this amazing town. Theatrically, how it looks on screen is phenomenal. The shadows and all the things connected with it. It's all new to us. The whole surroundings. And when she says, come to this brothel, we're like, we're going to get a reward and there's a brothel? We haven't seen women in like forever. And so when they take us to this brothel and the doors open, it's like being in fantasy land. You see all these beautiful women, seductress, and all the drinks you can have free. And my guys and my partners in crime and everybody's talking to somebody and they're just, laying all this womanly charm on all my guys who haven't seen that in a while and we're falling for it. Like put the spoon in my mouth and just take me wherever you want me to go. And before long, you start seeing things. And I know we've had a couple of drinks and you're like, what? Oh, hey, and you're back over here with this, then you see something over here. And then they take you to your different quarters. So you're alone with these women and you're like, yeah, man, forget the money. We get ready to get down. I haven't done this in 4 or 5 years. So let me see what I can do with this. And then the magic begins. And all hell breaks loose. And you can't believe what you're seeing or experiencing. And it's all around you. And it won't go away. And it just grows and grows and grows. And we as bad guys deal with it the best we can. Load them up. Let's go. And so when everything hits the fan, it starts spreading everywhere in all the directions, and you hear your guys outside the room and their experiences, and all you can hear is screams and shots, boom, 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 boom. And then you turn around and it's on you. It's like here, in your face. And the impact of what happened with everybody collectively, when we're all joined as a unit, everybody steps out of their quarters and join. It's chaos, but it's brilliant chaos. And the brilliance of Aaron, director, is phenomenal. I think that he is the next generation of horror.
Is this the first time y'all worked together?
Yeah, it was the first time. I'd come right off of a film, and they called and offered me this role. And I think I just finished coming off of, Winter Song, Shanti. And so I had 2 days from the time I finished that film to go home and then head straight up to the location, which was in Guthrie, Oklahoma.
Yeah, you got being booked and busy though.
Yeah, thank God. I love that. It's something that actors crave, to keep working on. And when I read the script and the genre, I was blown away. And I said, yeah, I want to do this. And so I flew out and immediately met my crew. I went to the town where they'd already started filming and met my guys, and I met Aaron. And was welcomed with open arms. And it was an amazing camaraderie. And you want that in a scene, in a film where you're dependent on other guys and they're dependent on you. So you become, I'm always a giver when I work. I give you what you need or more than what you need so you can be great. My job is not only to do what I do, but to bring out the best in what you do when you're on screen with me. I'd like to make the movie, the picture, and the actors are the frame, which put it all together so the audience can enjoy it. So it's, if I'm great in something, I want greatness to be in front of me. So you pull those strings. And my guys, my partners in crime, were generous enough to have that same emotion and feeling toward their work. So when you put that together and then you're working with the guy who created it, Aaron, and wrote it and is directing it, and he's spectacular with his generosity, you can't go wrong. So there was never any problems, never any egos. Check your egos, at the horse corral, and you go out there and you make this work. So it was beautiful, man. And once you put on those guns, you're back as being a kid and playing cowboys and and witches.
That's the beauty of acting, man. Like, you know, with every gig, you get a chance to just take on this new persona and just, you know, and just relive the things that you wanted to do as a child, or, you know, or maybe take on another life. And you have such an impressive body of work because you're definitely not typecast. You do all types of different things. So when you think about, like, you know, people who like you maybe see you in the street, what do they approach you the most for, or like recognize you the most from?
It depends on the people. I've got a different audiences. If it's an older Black audience, they recognize me from Roots.
Okay.
If it's a younger Black audience, they recognize me from Harlem Nights.
Oh yeah.
If it's an older white audience, they recognize me from Fried Green Tomatoes. If it's a younger white audience, they recognize me from House Guest with Sinbad, and that whole comedy thing.
Yeah.
Or it actually depends on who. I was sitting on a plane, you know, once, and everybody was coming down the aisle and saying hi to me, you know, which happens, and I'm like, hi. And the lady, it's an older white lady sitting next to me, she didn't want to look at me, and she kept doing this. Hey, how you doing? Love your work. Thanks, man. Thanks, appreciate it. Hey, brother, how's it going? Thanks. And then you got the brothers come by and they start stuttering. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. And the lady said, excuse me, without looking at me, I don't mean to butt into your business, but who the hell are you? And I said, I make films. She said, what films? And I said, well, and I looked at her for, you know, I'm sizing her up in her category. I said, Fried Green Tomatoes. And she said, are you Big George? And I went, well, yes, ma'am. And she went, my mother will just die. And we hadn't taken off yet. So she dialed her mom on the phone and said, Mom, you don't know who I have right here. It's Big George. And I got on the phone with her and that whole thing. So it depends on the person and what's happening. But I went to I used to go to all the fights when my fighters were in there, you know, my champion, Sugar Ray Leonard and Hearns and all those guys and Duran. And Ray Mercer was fighting.
Oh, he was.
So I went to the after party, and Ray said, hey, brother, come on over here and blah, 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 blah. I want you to meet my grandmother. And she looked like she was maybe late 80s, 90s, little tiny lady with glasses, gray hair, really cute. And he said, Grandma, this is Stan Shaw. He's an actor. And I said, how you doing, ma'am? And she said, she was really quiet. She said, and I kept leaning in and said, like, and I'm trying to help her. And she said, taxi. And I went, are you stuttering at me? And she went, taxi. And I went, not you. So it threw me completely off. But you know, people are generous in their responses when they see me, and I give that back because I appreciate that they appreciate what I've given them.
No, thank you for being generous with even your time, because some people, like, you know, are so off-put sometimes by so much attention, and not everybody can process it. So thank you so much for even being able, you know, being willing to entertain the conversations with people.
Well, and you know, I think it goes with the process. If you can't do that, you should drive a cab, you know, or work someplace else. But when you're in this industry, you're in a people business. Mm-hmm. And once you get off that screen, if you're fortunate enough to have a career that puts you on screen enough for people to appreciate who you are and what you've done, you've got to welcome that. You know, I walk through airports and people are screaming left and right. And I always make time to go, yo, what's up, bro? I'm from Chicago, so I when I walk through the airports, I'll get, yo, Stan, is Lil Man your cousin? I went, yeah, I think so. Yo, Stan, is Big Nod your cousin? Yeah, he's my cousin. Yo, Stan, I'm like, look, every other Black person in Chicago is related to me, okay? Like, okay, because I have lots of cousins in Chicago. And so I get that a lot. And I like acknowledging the people because they've acknowledged me. They've taken time out of their day or whatever to give you a smile or to say I like, or repeat your lines. I get a lot of people repeating my lines.
That's love right there, though.
Yeah, it is, man.
But real quick, you know, because I know they're gonna probably drag you away in a second, but you know, I'm a big boxing fan. Apparently you are, especially no one mentions Merciless Ray Mercer. So shout out to you on that.
Yeah,
I peeped that you were Dipper Brown in Rocky, and there was a big storyline that they were supposed to play up in Rocky, and some of it didn't make it
yeah.
to the movie. Was the stuff
Right,
shot or just
right.
on paper?
No, it's on film. I was the next person in line to fight Sly, and so I'm training. That's why Mickey threw him out of the locker room and put him on Skid Row on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they decided to do the whole uh, fight no, I was the next one to fight the champ, Carl.
Apollo.
I was in line to fight Apollo,
Yeah.
and they decided to pick Rocky because of the Italian stallion and all that stuff. So I was upset. I was beating the hell out of everybody in the gym. I'd already beaten Sly, and so I'm in the gym practicing. Apollo comes in with a news crew, and they start talking to Rocky. I get pissed. I jump over the rope, push Sly out of the way, and I get in Carl's face, telling him he wanted to avoid me because I'm the heat in the gym. I'm the fire. And Rocky gets in my face, and we do something. I knock out his little manager, and I'm getting ready to knock him out. And he wants to fight me. And the only way he can beat me is to go low and hit me in my balls. And he does that in the film. So after all the other things and the acting back and forth between us, the director goes in the back. 2 days later, he comes out and says, "I'm sorry, we had to cut the scene."
Oh,
And I went, what do you mean you had to cut the scene? And I went and told Sly. Sly was furious. "What do you mean you cut my scene? My word, you can't just cut my scene. Hey, I brought Dipper in here. This is my word." They were like screaming. And the next day after that, John came up to me and said, "I need to talk to you. Um, I apologize for cutting the scene out, but I want to give it to you." So I have the footage of the scene, the only scene no one has ever seen in the movie, because all the other outtakes were burned.
right.
And I have the only outtake. I have the canned sound, and the film footage at my house. And it's the only footage never seen before in Rocky.
Is there
And
a
I
way
remember one.
the
Yeah,
Stan shortcut where we, we can get that spliced in there somehow to where we can for the fans, because that franchise has so many hardcore fans. Is there
yeah.
any way we can get a super
It's
cut?
funny because I was doing Daylight with Sly in Italy, and we started talking about the 25th anniversary disc came out at that time. And he said, "I wanted to get some more with that." I said, "Sly, you should have talked to me. I've got that footage." And he said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, John gave it to me. It's at my house." He said, "Well, maybe I should." I said, "It's going to cost you, brother. You got what, $25-30 million a picture? You can give me some shingles, brother, and just give me some coins or something." And we started laughing at that. But at one point, I almost sold it at an auction, and I brought it back. I said, "No, I want to just keep this." So at some point, I plan on doing that because I've been inundated with requests. "Can we please see it? Can we please see it?" It's pretty spectacular. And I had no idea that all the other outtakes were burned until Sly told me, when we were talking about it, that there's no other outtakes from that. This is the only footage that no one has ever seen. And I felt kind of good about it. I finally got something that's worth.
You've turned in a lot of things that work. I mean, the crazy thing is, I want to ask you, do you know when you're making a great movie that it's great while it's happening, or it's just one of those things to where, because sometimes maybe we feel like we're working on something great, and maybe you don't get the accolades that you feel like you should, but you've been a part of some very monumental things. Do you know how many times as a kid I watched Monster Squad?
Yeah.
You know, on every level, whether for
Yeah.
the kids, for the adults, for the youth, them. I mean, you got something for everybody. Is there a feeling that you get when you're connected to something great while it's happening?
Yeah, it's funny you asked, but I interpret my work differently, maybe, than a great deal of other actors or performers. I don't know, because I haven't been in consultation with a great number of people about how they work, other than the people I work with on screen. And I'm teaching and learning as we're putting scenes together, close-ups and a two-shot and all that. But I believe being fantastic and being great on screen is by design. You can't do that by mistake. And it's not ego involved. It's just a dedication to my work and what I do. I remember James Earl Jones is my mentor and a great friend of mine. He always told me that your career is made up of what you choose to do and what you choose to turn down. And I've always held that, you know, in great esteem for his knowledge and his wisdom. And when we did Bingo Long together, he was always in my ear telling me things that I now hold dear to me when I work and I work with other people. But I can feel my work and my performance because I view it different as I'm doing it. I see me as the actor breathing life into the writer's words to make it appear on screen that he thought about when he took pen to paper in conceiving that character. And I'm also seeing it as the audience seeing me as I'm working on the character. And I'm also seeing me through the lens of the camera, which angle they have, but I'm also aware of my partner. So I'm doing like a series of things when I'm working, an amalgamation of different awarenesses. And I can tell when something is going fantastic and I have the energy in me to just push that vehicle along, because everybody has a job to get out and push a car when it runs out of gas. And if you get a whole company pushing that vehicle to the next station, it's a fantastic feeling. And when, you know, one of my other mottos is once the trough is full, we can all drink. And I like being thirsty, and I like other actors thirsty. And there's no more satisfying feeling when you see them go to the trough and they feel that thirst. And that's when I see that, I can feel that something is going to be amazing. And usually that's why I take a part, or I choose to be a part of a production that wants me to be a part of it or be a part of an ensemble. And you have to look at that when you're doing your work. And you have to know when to back off something and say, nah, I don't want to be a part of that. You know, there are different actors that won't share what they're supposed to share when they film because they want to be the focal point of everything. And I've had that experience once. And I kind of got into it with the actor because he was shawning everybody. Just, you know, it's me, mine. Just taking people's lines on camera when they're supposed to react to him and breaking hearts. And I went off and just said, hey, man, if you want to do this film by yourself, set the damn camera up and we'll go home and you do the whole fucking show. And everybody was like this. And I said, other than that, this motherfucker wrote this for us, for her, for him. You're taking his lines. And there was an older actor standing next to me that had the scene with him. Mm-hmm. And we're all on camera together. And I had talked to him about it because the actor was doing that to other people. And he said, well, don't make waves. So this actor was supposed to say something, and he took his lines before he said it. The director went, okay, cut, we're moving on. And I said, hey. And he said, what's going on? I said, that was his shot. Those were his lines. He keeps taking people's lines, and the actor was embarrassed. And the director said, well, get the script lady over. Let me see this. He said, what the hell are you doing taking his lines? Let's set up again and do the shot over again. And, you know, the older guy got to do his lines. And it was terrific. And he looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, thank you, I appreciate that. And I said, no, man, we're in this together. And if I'm not fulfilled, you're not fulfilled. So let's pull along and make a picture, because it takes it takes a village to raise a child. Mm-hmm. That's the way it is in film. It takes everybody giving what they have. That's why you're brought to the production, to make this flower open up and bloom and blossom in the sun. And the sun is the audience is watching it. And if you don't have a rose that's opening up nicely enough, and you have a petal off or a leaf off, it's going to show in the whole film is going to come down. So I'd rather everyone be great than me being great in a film and everybody's terrible. It's everybody's job to pull together so you, the audience, can feel fulfilled once you leave it from seeing a production. That's just the way I've always seen film.
Man, that is dope that you took a stance and took the time to make people, realize the error of their ways. Because you're right, it's a give and take. The only time, like, one person is carrying the whole, but that time Tom Hanks was on the island by himself with the volleyball.
Yeah.
Everybody, other than that, everybody needed to help everybody else out. So you said James Earl Jones helped you. Now, who's a younger actor that you kind of took under your wing in the same manner?
Oh, lots of people. Lots of people. My son is one who's coming up, and you'll hear from him. Is doing terrifically. He's just starting his first film called Blind Love. But every actor that I work with, I share. Um, I share with the lady who played my daughter, um, Sashani Nicole, in A Winter Christmas Song. I took her under my wing and shared some things with her to boost up her performance that she hadn't thought of. And it's not an ego thing where, hey, you're doing this or doing that. Like I say, it's sharing to make the whole outcome of what you're doing terrific. And sometimes people view things differently when they're doing it, the process that you can see it should veer another way, but you have to have tact enough to talk to someone. And it's not like an authoritarian, type of thing. Hey, do this, you're doing that wrong, and do that. It's a gentle easing to help somebody. Mm-hmm. So I've taken a TK Carter. When TK was doing some things, I talked to him and give him advice. Ernie Hudson. I've given Ernie Hudson some advice and helped him along before he started taking off. I've known him since the 70s. And I was working a great deal then, and I love Ernie Hudson.
Another solid dude in the business, man. I never got a chance to interview him like up close and direct, but another guy who, like, anytime I see him on the camera, you're gonna give it.
Yeah. I remember I was at a party once, and he wasn't working a great deal, and I had been fortunate enough to do a couple of things, and we were talking, and I said, "You need to visualize some things, man. I just bought a new car." I said, "Here, take my key. Go out and sit in my car. Just smell it. Feel yourself." I try to inspire people because life is too short to be on an island by yourself. We're all placed here for a reason together. No one can get off this planet. So God in his wisdom put us in different slots to help each other. And he did it in different hues and different colors, because if everybody was the same and looked the same and sound the same and smelled the same, how hard would that be to go outside every morning and go, "Man, you look great," because you look just like me. You smell great. You got on, boy, man, get on, brother. I love you. Well, it was that whole premise of those who are pure at heart will see God. So how can you see your heart if you don't see the differences between people when he placed them here in different colors? I think God had a great sense of humor by doing that. I got this fat guy, I got that skinny guy, I got this short guy, I got this tall guy. Here's a black one, here's a yellow one. And man, in his wretchedness at times, took that to try to capitalize on it. Well, I'm lighter than you, so I'm better than you. And no, you're not. But I can't stand the heat. I need some suntan on it. I'm like, well, come to the sun with me, brother. And then the other guy's like, well, we can go to the North Pole. I'm like, you got that. Just put me in the sun. But the differences of people, it's all the same. So once you break down the barriers of what you see and deal with a person from their heart and who they are and their soul, it's like rainbows and waters and everything, especially when you put in a working situation and you start dealing with people as people. And one of the great wonders of making a production is that you have everybody in this thing trying to do one thing well. And when the team comes together, Chinese, Black, Hispanic, everything, French, German, and they're trying to make this production well, and it shines, brother. It's like Marathon Man with Dustin Hoffman and Laurence Olivier. When that great team got together from different places, or my friend Morgan Freeman, and Brad Pitt, and in the picture that they did in Seven. I love that. I love that. And Morgan is another great friend of mine. He was a great friend of my father's. So I've written some things that I have that he's going to be a part of. He and Jimmy, myself.
Man,
But,
you keep amazing company, man. And Mr. Shaw, thank you so much for coming through and dropping some gems on us, man. Like, learned about some of your passions.
yeah,
Definitely hyped to hear about the the Rocky thing. Even the way you told the story, I felt like I watched it. You know what I
I
mean?
appreciate that. I
And
appreciate that.
in the new movie, The Pale Door, like depending if you guys hear or see this after August 21st, it's streaming August 21st. It'll be available everywhere. Download the Shutter app so you can see a whole bunch of
The
quality.
Pale Door is spectacular. You're going to absolutely love this film. It's one of my passions. It's one of the great things that I've been a part of in my career. And the way it was conceived and the way it was put on camera and put on screen and the delicate choices for different actors to play different parts and blend them together, it's kudos to Aaron. The Pale Door is fantastic, and you are going to love my partners in crime.
I can't wait to watch it all go down. The Pale Door on demand. Thank you so much, Stan Shaw. Continue success. Keep keep enlightening the world with your gift, brother. There's a reason God brought you here to do what you're doing, because you do it well, brother.
I appreciate you, brother. I really
Salute,
appreciate
man. God bless, man.